The situation on ground remains extremely tense. This is day 13 of Israel's war on Hamas terror. The Israeli artillery and Israeli armor are punishing various strongholds of Hamas. Israel claims it's taken out some of the top military leadership of Hamas as they have completely decimated some of the locations where the rocket propelled grenades, the rockets that targeted several pockets of Israel, were being manufactured. At the same time, Hamas terrorists continue to target Israel. This is happening at a time when US President Joe Biden visited Israel yesterday, and the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is in Israel today. But Israel relentlessly continues to pound Hamas bases on ground zero, where we are reporting from in southern Israel, very close to the Gaza Strip. India today is right at the front lines of this war against Hamas terror, Israel's war on Hamas terror. We are at the fence. The plumes of smoke that you see rising right behind me, and let me try and show you those plumes of smoke rising in that area, right in front of you, there and there. Now, according to the Israeli army, these are strongholds of Hamas that are being targeted. This is where Hamas has leadership, operational bases, logistics centers, and also foxholes or mouth of the tunnel. Now, the mouth of the tunnels are being destroyed. Ammunition and those bombs are being used that penetrate the ground and then explode. The aim is to ensure Hamas terrorists are neutralized as quickly as possible. I have
Stand here.
Yes, sir.
Don't stand here, okay?
No,
it's
no.
exposed. Be
Yeah.
behind this line.
Okay.
Try to stand behind cover.
So, absolutely, sir. This is in the line of Hamas fire.
Yes.
So Israeli army officers are telling me that the place where we are standing right now, it's directly in the line of Hamas fire, including their small arms fire. And that's why we're moving to safety. We're told to constantly wear helmets and bulletproof jackets in this place. It's not safe, or take shelter behind mounds in this area. Because for a rocket, when that rocket targets Tel Aviv, then there is still considerable time. Okay, so now we are moving to safety. These officers, it's safe here. Okay, so these officers tell us that it's safer to be in this part of town because in this part of the open area, because here at least you're safe. But anything beyond this, you're directly in the line of fire as Israeli forces intensify their operations against Hamas terrorists. What's also very crucial is the Heron TP drones, long endurance drones that are in the skies, and you can hear the sound of those of their motors constantly. Those drones flying at an altitude of 30,000 feet or even higher, they pinpoint with their cameras, they pinpoint even a foxhole or the mouth of a tunnel, and then they lit up, they put a laser beam on the mouth of the tunnel, and the F-16s and F-15s. You can again hear those F-16s and F-15s in the sky. The moment that laser targeting is done, precision guided munition is used to bomb the mouth of the tunnel. So that is how precise these operations are being carried out. The aim is to ensure that when ground forces move in, there are no buildings or clusters where Hamas terrorists can hide behind civilians and use anti-tank missiles or shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles to target low-flying helicopters. Should helicopters come into that operation to give protection to the tanks and armored personnel carriers and trucks when they move in. Shallow raids, we are told, are already being conducted. So we're getting you a ground report. Very, 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 very tense situation on ground as you see plumes of smoke rising. Not safe to be there, but I just want you to, for a moment, see those plumes of smoke rising. India today is right at the front lines of Israel's war on Hamas terror. The situation taking a turn for the worse. There is an escalation on ground as Israel says its main aim is to destroy Hamas leadership, their bomb shelters, their bomb manufacturing capabilities, their logistics hubs, and also their financial centers. Gaurav Sawant, right near the Gaza Strip in southern Israel for India Today. So, what can you tell me about your operations against Hamas terrorists today?
So right now we're still striking Hamas infrastructure and senior leadership in Gaza. We are very, very determined. We're acting based on intelligence and slowly going after Hamas targets. And we're going to go to get to each and every one of them. We've asked civilians to move south from Gaza City, south of Wadi Gaza. We've declared a safe zone in the Muassi on the beach. and we are moving on our operational planning.
Now, your operations plan, some argue, has been delayed. Have your operations or your ground operations into the Gaza Strip been delayed, either by not being able to take out all the Hamas strongholds, their tunnels still existing, their capability to launch rockets into Israel still existing?
We're going to act in due course and in a very disruptive way. We're not delayed in anything. The IDF will go in composed and ready to beat Hamas. When this happens, and it could be in all sorts of ways. There's not a decision yet, but we will act very, very determined matter to destroy Hamas.
You're facing a threat on multiple fronts. You have the Hamas in the south, you have the Hezbollah in the north, with that hospital being targeted. The wider Arab world is also, there are protests happening all over. Is that a major concern for the Israeli forces?
So we first of all proved that the hospital was Islamic Jihad, and that wasn't the idea. We don't attack hospitals. The north, we have ramped up our defenses. It would be very, very... It wouldn't be smart for Lebanon to risk their future for Hamas.
But can you take on an adversary on two fronts or maybe three fronts, Syria, Lebanon, and Hamas here at the Gaza Strip?
Of course we can, and I think it's important to mention also the fact that there's two American battle groups in the Med, amplifying the General Karilla, who's the central commander, saying we are sending these American forces to make sure no one from far intervenes in the fight. Our focus right now is in Gaza, and Lebanon and Hezbollah should not make a mistake. We are ready though, but they shouldn't come into this.
Is there a threat of Hamas terrorists still being in Israel and targeting your supply chain, your soldiers who are now virtually deployed in the open in several locations?
We believe that we've more or less cleaned out the area from the Hamas. There were a lot of people inside Israel. There could be still pockets. We're still in a war zone, but that's our jobs.
And over the course of the past 12 days, we've been telling you about the horrors of Hamas, that people here were forced to witness. The tractor here set on fire, cars here set on fire. I also want to show you when terrorists came into this area, they targeted the houses that we showed you. Look at this car, for example. This car was targeted, and that's a child seat on one side yanked out. There's a toy of that child still there. Let me show you this from the other side. Several cars like this, another child seat taken out. Several cars like this targeted in this entire area. And this was one of the first settlements that was targeted by the Hamas terrorists. Now, people had absolutely nowhere to go because they were actually enjoying a vacation, like we say in India, the Kumbh Mela, where lakhs and lakhs assemble and enjoy festivities. That's exactly what was happening here on ground zero.